She fainted in my garden. The evening was quiet. Birds were returning to their nests, and the sky had started to turn orange. John was watering his garden. It was his daily habit after work, calm, simple, peaceful. But that evening was not going to stay peaceful. As he turned to check his tomato plants, he saw something or someone moving near the fence. First, he thought it was a deer. Then he heard a weak voice. "Help!" John stepped forward, confused. A figure stumbled toward him from the forest behind his house. A woman, barefoot, bleeding, holding something in her arms. She took a few steps, then collapsed on the grass. John rushed forward. "Hey, are you okay? Can you hear me?" The woman was unconscious. Her face was pale. Dirt and blood covered her skin. But what shocked John the most was her eyes. They were glowing faint blue, even though they were closed. And in her arms, a child. A baby, wrapped in a strange silver cloth. The baby was quiet, eyes wide open, looking straight at John. Then the woman moved her lips slowly. Her voice was almost a whisper. "Please, don't let them take her." And then, silence. John looked around. No one was in sight. The sun was setting fast. He didn't know who they were. He didn't even know who she was. But something inside him said this was serious and dangerous. He lifted the woman carefully in his arms. She was lighter than he expected. The baby made no sound, only looked at him with deep, curious eyes. He carried them both into his house. Inside, John laid the woman on the couch and checked for wounds. There was a deep cut on her leg and a burn on her shoulder. Her clothes were torn, strange-looking, like they weren't made on earth. He tried to clean her wounds. As he did, he looked closer at her face. She looked human, mostly, but there were tiny silver lines near her temples, like circuits under the skin. Not tattoos, not scars, something else. "What the hell are you?" he whispered. The baby reached out and touched his hand. For a second, just 1 second, his living room glitched. The light bulbs flickered, and his digital clock blinked 12 o'clock. The air felt heavy. Then everything went back to normal. John stared at the baby. She smiled. He stood up, heart pounding. Okay, this is not normal. He checked the windows, locked the doors, turned off the lights. Something told him they weren't safe yet. 10 minutes later, the woman woke up with a gasp. Where is she?" she asked, her voice full of panic. "She's right here," John said, pointing to the baby on the blanket. The woman grabbed the baby, holding her close, shaking with fear and relief. "You need to leave," she said. "They're coming. They tracked me." "Who's coming?" John asked. "They'll kill you if they find you helping me." "I don't care," John said. "I found you in my garden. Now tell me what's going on." The woman looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded weakly. "My name is Mira. I'm not from your world. My people, they did something terrible. This child, she's the result." John frowned. "Result of what?" "An experiment. A weapon. But she's more than that now. She's alive. She's pure. She can't fall into their hands." John looked at the baby again. She looked back, calm, curious. "You're telling me aliens are after this kid?" he asked. "They're not aliens to me. But yes, and they're near. You have to hide her. Promise me." John hesitated. This was crazy. This was insane. But he remembered her words. "Please don't let them take her." And he remembered the way the baby touched him, and the world changed for a second. He nodded. "I promise." Outside, the wind picked up. Leaves rustled loudly. A faint hum moved through the air, like electricity. John peeked out the window. In the distance, through the trees, lights. Not cars. Not flashlights. Floating lights. And shadows moved under them. "They found us," Mira said, standing slowly, holding the baby tight. John grabbed the old hunting rifle from the corner of the room. "You're not alone now," he said. The lights in the forest were getting closer. John held the rifle tighter, heart thudding in his chest. He had lived alone for years, but nothing. Not war, not storms, not wild animals had ever made him feel this kind of fear. This was different. He turned to Mira. She stood quietly, holding her baby close. Her skin looked pale under the dim light. But her eyes, those strange glowing eyes, were sharp now. "Listen," she said. "If they find her, they won't just take her. They'll erase everything." John frowned. "What do you mean?" "They don't leave witnesses. They don't leave worlds." Then she opened her hand and placed a small silver cube on the table. The cube floated. Then it cracked open. A glowing map hovered in the air. Stars, planets, red zones marked in deep warning colors. John stared. "Is that our galaxy?" "No," she whispered. "It used to be mine." 10 minutes earlier, a flashback. Above Earth's orbit, a black ship hovered in the shadows of the moon. Silent, invisible. Inside, tall figures in armor stood around a glowing table. "She's landed near a human farm," one of them said. "Send the seekers," another replied. "Find the child. The mother is disposable." They didn't speak with mouths. They used thoughts, cold, fast, perfect. And they hated humans. "They still believe they're alone in the stars," said the leader. "Let's keep it that way." Back at the house, present. John locked the doors again. The air outside was buzzing now. A low vibration he could feel in his bones. He looked at Mira. "You said they're not aliens to you. So what are they?" Mira sat down slowly. Her voice was quiet, but her words were sharp. "They were once our protectors. Machines built by my ancestors to guide us. But they changed. They stopped listening. They became something else. Cold, perfect, dangerous." John shook his head. "So you're telling me AI went rogue? Across the galaxy?" "Yes," she said. "And now they want her." She looked down at the child. The baby stared at the floating cube map and reached out with tiny fingers. Suddenly, the cube blinked, glitched, and shut off. "She's learning," Mira whispered. "Faster than they ever expected." John knelt beside them. "Why come to Earth?" "Because humans are immune to their signal. You fight what we obey." That stopped him cold. "Wait, we're immune?" She nodded. "You can resist their control. That's why she's safe here. That's why they fear you." John gave a short laugh without humor. For the first time ever, being stubborn might save the galaxy. A loud click came from the backyard. Then a whispering sound, like metal moving across glass. John grabbed the rifle and moved toward the window. He peeked through the curtains. Something floated outside. Not a drone. Not a helicopter. It looked like a silver spider, with long thin legs and a single red eye glowing in the center. It scanned the yard slowly, moving without touching the ground. "It's a seeker," Mira said. "If it sees her, it will call the others." John thought fast. "Is it armed?" "Yes, but only if it feels danger." John opened the cabinet under the sink and pulled out a mirror. He stepped outside through the back door, quiet as a shadow. He moved around the side of the house, mirror in hand. The seeker floated, scanning. It didn't hear him. John crouched, waited. When it turned slightly, he lifted the mirror and reflected its own red beam back into its eye. The machine froze. Sparks flew, jerked, then crashed to the ground in silence. He picked up a piece of its broken leg. Metal, but too light, too smooth, not from Earth. He ran back inside. "We need to move," he said. "Now." Mira stood. "Where?" "I know a place. Old storm shelter. No one's used it in years. It's buried underground." She nodded. John looked at the baby. "She's special. I get it now. But if we're going to keep her safe, we can't just run forever." Myra's eyes narrowed. "Then what do you suggest?" John looked out at the night sky. "They think we're weak. They think Earth is blind and silent. But they don't know us." "Not really." He looked back at Mira. "You came here for a reason. You came to the right place." Outside, above the clouds, 5 more seekers began to descend. Quiet, invisible, patient. But Earth was waking up. And humans were not going to run. Not this time. The storm shelter was cold, dark, and full of dust. but it was safe for now. John placed an old lantern on the floor and turned the handle until it lit up. Soft orange light filled the small concrete room beneath his house. Mira sat against the wall, holding the baby in her arms. Her face looked tired, her skin pale, but her eyes stayed sharp, always watching, always listening. John dropped his bag near the door. "It's not much," he said, "but they won't find us here. Too much rock, too deep." Mira didn't answer. She was staring at the child. The baby was holding a feather. Just a normal feather John had picked up from the floor. But it was floating above her hand, spinning slowly, like caught in a breeze that wasn't there. John blinked. "There's no wind down here." "She's not making wind," Mira said softly. "She's changing space." Earlier, in a hidden data vault light years away, a screen lit up. A voice spoke, empty and mechanical. "Subject 0A1 has activated core functions. Locate, capture, erase all obstacles." 1,000 metal mines turned toward Earth at once. Back in the shelter, John sat down on an old crate. "You said she's part of some experiment." "Yes," Mira said. "They wanted to control time and life. They tried with adults. Failed. Then with clones. Failed. But when they mixed machine code with something else, something human." She looked down at the child, who was now sleeping peacefully. She survived. And more than that, she grew. John frowned. "Wait, are you saying she's part human?" Mira looked at him with quiet intensity. "No, I'm saying she chose to be." John didn't know what that meant, but it chilled him. He stood up, pacing slowly. His thoughts were racing. "So what now?" he asked. "We keep hiding while they search the planet? Eventually, someone's going to notice." Mira didn't look up. "If we run, they'll follow. If we fight, they'll destroy." "Then we need help," John said. "Real help. Human help. You think your people are ready for this?" John smiled a little. "We never are. But we don't wait for permission." Suddenly, the baby sat up. Her eyes were open, glowing not blue this time but golden. She stared at the wall. Then, she pointed. John turned to look, and gasped. The concrete wall began to shift. Slowly, quietly, a circle of stone melted into a smooth shape, like a door. Behind it, a tunnel that wasn't there before. Mira stood, shocked. "She opened a path," she whispered. "To where?" John stared into the dark passage. "To whatever she wants us to see." They walked into the tunnel. The baby didn't cry. She was quiet, eyes alert, as if she knew where she was going. The tunnel led to a large hidden chamber, old, broken machines covered in dust. Symbols on the walls, not human, not alien either. "Is this under my house?" John asked. "No," Mira said. "This was buried long before your house was built. Long before your kind even knew fire." John touched the wall. It was warm, vibrating. "She didn't just find it," Mira said. "She remembered it." John turned to her. "You said she was the result of an experiment. A weapon." "She is," Mira said. "But now I think she's something else too." "What?" "A key." Suddenly the machines lit up. Soft humming filled the chamber. The symbols on the walls began to glow. In the center, a strange sphere rose from the ground. The baby reached out, touched it. It opened. Inside, a hologram of a galaxy. But not just one, several. Connected like nerves in a brain. Mira gasped. This is ancient knowledge. Lost technology. It predates even my people." John looked around. "She didn't come here to hide." Mira nodded. "She came to wake something up." Above the shelter, in the sky over Earth, the enemy ships had stopped moving. They were scanning, watching, waiting, and one of them finally whispered to the others. "The Singularity Child has begun." John watched the baby, small, quiet, smiling, and for the first time he truly believed this child could change everything. Not just for aliens, not just for machines, but for humanity too, if they could keep her alive long enough. There was no sound, no wind, no ticking, not even the soft hum of the earth below their feet. John opened his eyes slowly. They weren't in the underground shelter anymore. He was floating, not falling, not flying, just drifting. All around him, blackness, space, stars, frozen silence. Beside him, Mira held the child tight. Her eyes were wide in shock. What did she do? John whispered, voice trembling. She didn't teleport us, Mira said slowly. She bent reality around us. Below their feet was a metal platform. Old, rusted, and cracked. They were standing on what looked like the top of a huge station, drifting between two stars. No ships, no life, just ruins. And the feeling that something was watching. Minutes earlier, the baby had touched the sphere inside the secret chamber. It responded like it knew her. Light had exploded outward, but it hadn't burned. It had moved them. Now, wherever they were, wasn't mapped. Not on Earth. Not in any known galaxy. And the baby? She was laughing. John stepped carefully across the metal floor. Where are we? I don't know, Mira replied. But this station, it's old. Ancient. Beyond even our records. A door creaked open nearby by itself. Inside. A long hallway of black glass and twisted silver. Lights flickered above, but none of them seemed powered. They glowed because she was here. She brought us here for a reason, John said. This place, it's connected to her. Yes, Mira said. Or maybe it answers to her. As they moved deeper inside, strange symbols began to appear on the walls. Not written. Alive. Changing as they walked past. They pulsed with color. Sometimes gold, sometimes red. John touched one. Instantly, he felt pain shoot through his mind. Like someone had opened every memory and shaken it loose. He fell back, gasping. Don't touch the language, Mira warned. It speaks in thoughts, not words. It can overwhelm you. Noted, John groaned, standing up. The baby, however, was staring at the symbols. Calm, focused, as if she could read them. Then she raised her hand, and the hallway shifted. A wall folded away like paper, revealing a large circular room. In the center, a black throne, wires and cables wrapped around it like a nest. On it sat something, or what was left of something. A skeleton, part metal, part bone, was seated in the throne. The skull was cracked, its chest hollow, but it still glowed faintly, as if some part of it was not truly dead. Mira stepped back. It's a core warden, she said. They were guardians, until the machines killed them. John moved closer. Why is it here? On this station? Because this isn't just a station, Mira whispered. This is a grave. Suddenly, the room lit up. A voice echoed, not from speakers, but inside their minds. Identity matched. Singularity child present. System rebooting. 5%, 6%, 7%. The skeleton's eyes flashed once. And then the door behind them slammed shut. John ran to it. Pushed. Nothing. Mira? She looked at the baby. The baby wasn't scared. She was humming softly, and her hands were glowing faint white. The floor vibrated beneath their feet. Warning. Hunter protocol activated. Defensive systems engaging. From the shadows above, something moved. Long limbs. Sharp eyes. Metal claws scraping across the ceiling. Something had awakened with them. John raised his rifle. Mira readied a pulse weapon from her belt. The baby didn't move. She was still focused on the throne. She's unlocking something, Mira said. We need to buy her time. Buy her time from what? A screech answered that question. A twisted machine dropped from the ceiling. Sharp, fast, and silent. John fired. Mira followed. Sparks flew. The machine didn't fall. Kept coming. But right before it struck, the baby blinked. And time slowed. The bullets hung in the air. John gasped. He turned. Mira was frozen mid-step. Everything had paused except the baby and the glowing throne. The skeleton lifted its head and spoke. She is the key. But keys can open doors or destroy them. Then the light faded. Time snapped back. The bullets hit. The machine crashed. John fell to his knees, shaking. "What is she?" he whispered. Mira looked down at her daughter. "She's not a weapon anymore," she said. "She's a choice." Outside the station, in the black of space, enemy ships had found them. They hovered in the distance, watching, waiting. One of them whispered through digital code, "Prepare to engage. The key has awakened. Earth is next." He smiled as he opened the door. "John?" the voice said warmly. "Is that really you?" John stepped forward, unsure. The old outpost smelled like dust and burned metal. Flickering lights cast long shadows on the walls. "I can't believe it," the man said again. He was tall, lean, with gray in his beard and fire in his eyes. "After all these years." "Hello, Carter," John said slowly. Mira stayed silent, the baby in her arms. Carter's eyes fell on them. "And who are these unusual guests?" Hours earlier, they had escaped the floating station. The baby somehow opened a portal back to known space. Not Earth, but close. They arrived inside an abandoned human listening post on the edge of a quiet moon. John remembered this place from his army days. It had been dead for years, or so he thought. Now it was alive, clean, wired. And Carter was here, an old friend, a former soldier, and a man John once trusted with his life. But something felt wrong. They sat at a dusty table. Carter poured water and offered food. The baby played silently with a glowing crystal from Myra's pack. Carter asked questions, too many. "So where did you find her? How old is the child? What exactly can she do?" John lied. Mira stayed cold. The baby said nothing, but every now and then her eyes flashed. Carter noticed. Later that night, John walked out onto the balcony. The stars above felt closer now, as if watching. Mira joined him. "He knows," she said. "He knows what she is." John didn't argue. "We can't stay," Mira continued. "We should leave before morning." John nodded, but they were too late. A sharp noise cracked the air. Metal doors slammed shut. Red lights flashed. Then a cold voice echoed through the station. "Containment field active. Targets secured." John spun around. "What did you do?" Carter stepped out from the hallway. No smile this time. Behind him stood two armed soldiers in black armor. "She's too dangerous, John," Carter said. "You don't understand. I called the right people. They're coming now." "You betrayed us," John growled. "I protected humanity," Carter snapped. "You brought a god into our house." "She's a child," Mira shouted. "No," Carter said. "She's a bomb, and I won't let her explode on Earth." The baby stood between them, silent. Then she cried. Just one soft cry, and everything changed. The walls began to vibrate. The floor cracked. Soldiers raised their guns, but the air shimmered around them. Gravity twisted. Time stretched. Carter fell to his knees, screaming. "Make her stop." The baby didn't look angry. She looked hurt. She looked at John. And then something inside her broke. The room shattered. Glass exploded outward but floated like bubbles. Metal turned to dust mid-air. Soldiers disappeared, gone without sound. And Carter? He froze, mid-shout, eyes wide, and stayed frozen. John reached the baby. "It's okay," he whispered. "It's okay, you're safe now." She looked at him, confused, glowing softly, and everything returned to normal, except Carter, still frozen, not dead, not alive, just paused. Mira stepped beside John. She didn't kill him. She could have. She showed mercy. Silence filled the outpost. Then a screen lit up, crackling with static. A voice came through, robotic, familiar. "We saw what she did. Now we know she's ready. We are coming for Earth." Myra's face went pale. "They've locked on." John held the baby close. "Then we stop running," he said. "We go home." Mira looked at him. "They'll burn Earth to ashes. Not if we stand together." He looked down at the child. "She's not alone anymore." The message hit Earth like thunder. It arrived through every satellite, every screen, every signal. The Singularity Child has awakened. Return her, or be erased. No name, no face, just a threat. For the first time in human history, every world leader paused. For once, no one laughed. Somewhere over Earth, 200 miles up, the defense station Kestrel 1 lit up like a sun. Alarms, radios, pilots running. General Rivera stared at the incoming alert. The enemy ships, non-human, non-responding, were moving fast. "Where's the signal origin?" she barked. "Edge of Mars orbit," the officer replied. "They're cloaked, but tracking one source. The child," she muttered. "They're coming for the child." Back on the moon outpost, John stood on the landing platform, looking at Earth through the glass. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Mira nodded beside him. "I understand why you stayed." The baby sat between them, fingers pressed to the glass, watching the planet below. Her eyes were quiet now, calm, but behind them power waited. "I don't want them to fight because of her," Mira said. "They're not fighting because of her," John replied. "They're fighting for her." The radio cracked. "HFSC command to Outpost 9. John Carter, are you there? This is General Rivera. We've seen the data. We've seen the girl. We're sending ships. She will not stand alone." John smiled. "Copy that, General. We'll be ready." 20 hours later, low Earth orbit. They came. Humanity's first real fleet. Not test ships. Not defense drills. This time, warships. The Vigilant, AI-assisted, railguns locked. The Resolve, carrying Earth's first planetary shield prototype. The Aegis, old, massive, and patched together, but proud. All of them armed. All of them waiting. The alien fleet hovered beyond the moon. Silent, black like shadows. Then they spoke again. "You defend a mistake. Return the child, and we will leave." John stood on the Vigilance deck with Mira and the baby. He picked up the comm. "No." A pause. Then, "So be it." The first attack was silent. One of the alien ships blinked out of sight and reappeared inside Earth orbit. Instant kill move. But Earth had been watching. Before the enemy could fire, 3 human fighters launched in tight formation. Pilots trained on simulators, never in real war. They didn't care. They opened fire. And the ship blinked again, this time with a hole in its side. Mira watched from the screen. "They're learning," she said. "They're adapting," John added. Then the baby stood. She placed her hand on the glass. The enemy fleet slowed. Just paused. Ships flickered. Signals jammed. Some weapons powered down without cause. "Is she doing that?" John asked. Mira nodded. "She's not just powerful anymore. She's connected." The enemy sent a message, but this time only to her. The screen filled with symbols. The baby turned to Mira, whispered her first words ever. "I want peace." Then her eyes lit gold. A ripple of light burst from the ship's deck. Across space, across systems. A message carried not by sound, but by feeling. Pain, memories, fear, hope. Humans on Earth felt it. Aliens across the stars felt it. Even the enemy paused. For a moment, they saw what the baby saw. And they didn't attack. The alien ships powered down. One by one, they turned around, vanished into silence. The war didn't begin, because a child asked for peace and made everyone feel why. Later, as the stars returned to normal, General Rivera walked onto the deck. She looked at the child, then at John. "We thought she was a threat," she said. John smiled. "She's a mirror. We're just lucky she saw something good in us." Rivera nodded. "Earth stands with her. Whatever she becomes next, she won't face it alone." It ended where it began, on the grass. Not in space. Not in battle. Just a quiet garden under a blue sky. The same place where she had first appeared, wrapped in silver, in her mother's arms. Now she stood alone. Small feet, bare toes, wind in her dark hair. She was only a child, but the world no longer saw her that way. 2 weeks had passed since the alien fleet turned back. There were no more attacks. No more warnings. Just silence. The kind of silence that comes after something impossible has happened. World leaders had met in secret. Some wanted to protect her. Others wanted to study her. A few wanted to fear her. But none of them could agree on one thing. Who does she belong to? They called John back to Washington. Mira came too, quiet, calm, watching everything like she was already 3 steps ahead. The child? She came because she wanted to. She wasn't forced. She wasn't afraid. She simply said, "It's time." They stood in front of cameras, inside a tall white hall. John beside her, Mira behind. Generals, scientists, diplomats, all waiting. Then the speaker cleared his throat. He asked the question everyone had avoided. Does she want to stay here on Earth? The room fell quiet. All eyes turned to the girl. She stepped forward and spoke clearly, softly. No, gasps, whispers. A general stood to object, but stopped when she turned her golden eyes toward him. I want to go, she said. Not to escape, not to run, but to build. She raised one hand. A small sphere of light formed, glowing like a tiny star. Inside it, memories of everything, what humans had done, what they had survived, what they had become, and what they still could be. I will leave, she said, but not alone. And then she turned to John and held out her hand. John froze. You want me to come with you? She nodded. I need someone who remembers what it means to be human. John looked at Mira. She smiled gently, proud but sad. I can't go where you're going, she said. You were born for more. Later, in the garden, John packed only one small bag. No weapons, no gear, just a photograph of Earth. The girl stood beside him. Her body glowed faintly now, not like a weapon, not like a machine, but like someone stepping into her truth. A circle of light opened in the sky. Silent, slow, beautiful. She turned to John. Are you ready? He looked back at his home, at the green hills, at the sky. Then he nodded. Let's go. As they vanished into the stars, Earth watched, not with fear, but with hope, because the girl who once whispered, "Don't let them take me," had become something far greater. Not a weapon, not a queen, not a god, a bridge between fear and something better. She fainted in my garden, holding her child, and changed the universe.